Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinski's Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a tier listing, i.e. ranking, of the unfiltered audio plugins. I'm only going to look at the ones that are available for iOS. There are a couple of other ones that are available on desktop but aren't available on iOS yet. I mean, I hope they're coming. So, we've got Silo, Granulator, Spatializer, and Reverb. We've got Needlepoint, Vinyl Simulation, Tails, a reverb. Very different beast from Silo, by the way. And Lo-Fi AF. Lo-Fi as, you know what, I don't want to curse on YouTube. Affect the ability to show ads. We got Basement, Bass Processing, and we got Battalion, very powerful drum machine. So I did about a 20-something minute long video on Battalion. This is a pretty deep app, but that video I think covers a lot in just 20 minutes. Super useful. I also did a video about 40 minutes long, really deep dive on Silo. So check those out. Also, everybody, if you'd like to support my work, please consider supporting me on Patreon. And there's also Plugin Boutique affiliate link. These unfiltered audio apps, for example, and so many other desktop plugins are available there. If you use my link when you're buying, I get a little cut. So every little helps, guys. Thanks. So let's look at these one by one now. Silo. So here we got a Granulator, Spatializer, and Reverb. So we'll look at these one by one. Let's just look at the Granulator first. So we got all your kind of usual controls. Control the size of grains, the rate. The rate here is important for some of the other controls in the plugin as well. We've got pitch. Speed is about how it plays through the buffer and does it run forwards or backwards and stuff like that. One of the things that I really like here is the different window types that you have. Like this Blackman one, for example, is really nice when it's set with the shape all the way to the left to give you this very kind of snappy sound. So there are a lot of different types, and they all have their own vibe. Got a nice little reverse option here as well. The Spatializer can do weird stereo stuff, different types of panning and stuff. It's very interesting. You can use that subtly or really full on. The Reverb. Reverb also has some cool stuff. Like here I'm using this mask. The speed at which it's rotating here is set by the rate knob. And basically every time it hits the black dot, the reverb is turned on. You hear it coming on there? And then it'll start to fade out, and that'll of course be determined by the decay. So here we've got no reverb, and here the reverb's on all the time. So this masking thing is just one of the options. It's really a very interesting plugin that, so I would give Silo, that's going to come in my list out of these 6 apps, this is going to come position 2 or 3. Needlepoint, Vinyl Simulation. Also really great. So, you know, you can do all your typical sort of stuff like wow and flutter. And add these dust particle noises. Sound like dusty records. But what's really cool is that you have different densities. Small, medium or large grains of dust. And you can dial in exactly the sound that you like. quite partial to those large ones. But you know, you could also use this just as a compressor. It has these really great sounding compression algorithms built in. And if you look at the manual, the way it describes these, it can't say what hardware exactly is, you know, the basis for each, or the inspiration. But if you're into that sort of thing, you'll probably be able to guess. I don't really care about that sort of thing. I just care what they sound like, and I think they sound really good. With this broken button, you can make it loop like a skipping record, but you've got very little control over that. You've got more control in Lo-Fi AF. You can do these spin down effects as well. I don't really care about those very much, but I do love this pitch slider for pitching things up or down. Here, this will control the amount of some of the effects, but not things related to pitch. Really cool, versatile effect. What's interesting also is you don't even have to just use it as an effect. You can use that to generate sound. Oops, turn off the broken there. You know, use it to just make these little kind of gritty sounds and then put them through something like a resonator. It can be really interesting. Okay. So, tails. So by the way, yeah, my ranking. So, needlepoint, that's going to come, I think, around number 4 for me. Okay, tails. This reverb has one supposedly kind of revolutionary feature, which is this reverb swap feature. I'm going to explain that a bit more in a minute. One thing I like about tails, without even using that stuff, is this sample rate. You can get these really great sounding lo-fi reverbs and interesting pitch effects when you change that as well. The only thing I find about this plugin is it can be quite fiddly. And sometimes when I change the reverb mode, I just get, and maybe when I play around with the decay. So it depends on the incoming audio, but sometimes I find it a bit hard to control. So it has shimmer reverb algorithm as well. Let's put the pitch up for that. Bring the gain down a little bit. I think for these sort of industrial soundscape type things, weird ambient stuff and dark ambient and everything, this can be very interesting. But because we're ranking things, it does come lower down the list for me. I definitely would choose Silo or Needlepoint over this one. So I think I'm going to give it, it's going to be probably a 5 or a 6 tails. In a minute, we'll come back to the other use of tails. Let me first jump on to Lo-Fi AF. This can be so great. So here I'm using this signal interference feature. Listen to this. So here I'm changing the frequency of that. And we've got a bunch of different options in there. I absolutely love that section of this plugin. But we got a bunch of different sections: convolution, spectral, digital, analog. So let's get an example of some of these. So convolution here, we got cell phone. Handy automatic gain compensation here. Because when you use these convolution algorithms, it might get very, very quiet. So you can bring this in and just quickly raise the level. So you've got a bunch of different options here, by the way. Spectral section. So this can do a bunch of different stuff. This part's really interesting. This zero shift. What this does is it pitch shifts things in one direction, but then it pitch shifts it back in the other. So it's not actually trying to do pitch shifting. It's using that weird combination of an upwards pitch shift followed by a downwards one, or vice versa, to create weird artifacts in the sound. Really interesting. And then here, this one is actually more like typical pitch shifting, but it's very lo-fi sounding. This iterate control here, this will basically make this more intense by repeating the operation again and again if you turn it up. So if you have it down here, the upwards and downwards operation will only be performed once. If you put it like this, for example, it's going to be done 2 times. And here's going to be done 24 times, so it'll just get more degraded, I guess. A few other things there as well. I mean, I don't want to make this a full walkthrough. So next we got the digital section. So here we've got a lot more control over skipping effects. Right? Skip time and the likelihood of skips occurring. Super cool. Bit crushing. Sample rate reduction. And we can change everything about here, by the way. So if I put all the things on, like here I'm using all the sections. Can move things around. It's brilliant. So over here, kind of pitch changes, like a malfunctioning turntable. One knob, compression and maximizer. Again, the interference stuff that we looked at earlier, noise, filtering, loads of stuff. Interference again. Super brilliant plugin, I think. For me, this definitely comes 2 or 3 in my list. Okay, now, basement. So, processing bass signals, this is designed to be used on a single track, not on a whole mix. So we got these different algorithms here. Saturate, resonate we just listened to, octave, synthesize, overfold. So the cutoff knob is very important. Cutoff basically is setting where the effect will be applied in the signal. So here it'll be applied to everything below 198 Hz. So changing the cutoff value is going to affect the sound of things quite a lot. We got other knobs that can do a lot as well. So strength is just adjusting the strength of the effect, whatever effect we've set over here. Soften adds a low pass filter that can kind of tame things. If you're getting all this weird sort of, I don't know, ugly sort of parpy sound, you can try and take that out with soften. Here we've got a low shelf filter at the cutoff frequency. This clarity knob is really great. Takes out some mud and makes things more trebly. So this is the saturate one. See how changing the cutoff will make a big difference. So synthesize, so this is creating a sine signal at the cutoff frequency. Used for sub-bass, for example. So we've also got other stuff here, anti-rumble, take out a little bit of low end. I think it's below, 30 hertz. You can have the mid only, processing the mid only, not the sides. You can solo the bass part. This is very useful if you're trying to hear exactly what the plugin is doing to the part of the signal that it's actually processing. Make the bass mono. We got soft clip. As you can see, you can use these in combination as well. And we can just bypass the effect quickly to hear what the original sounds like. Very useful, I think, for people into bass music. For me, it's not the kind of thing that I personally reach for a lot, so I'd rank it lower down the list, 5 or 6, but it's not because I don't think it's good. It's just because I prefer the more kind of creative stuff like silo, lo-fi, and so on. Not everybody can be a winner. So here, I got this harp, Piano Tech harp. And I'm going to look at tails again. Let me just bring this up a little bit. I got a cold, by the way. So, if I look at this reverb swap part, it's turned on. I'm going to turn the decay up, which isn't going to sound very good, but I need to do that to demo properly what this is doing. So let's turn the reverb swap off. So do you hear now we've got a lot of like inharmonic frequencies in the reverb sound? If I bring the mix up. Right, because this reverb is just mixing all these frequencies together and it can end up very kind of messy. So what the reverb swap will do is it will swap out the buffer when it detects incoming notes, or can be based on volume as well, not just notes. But I think for this it's interesting to work with note stuff because we want to, if you're putting in chords like this, you don't necessarily want the reverb muddying them all up. And using ducking is not really going to solve that problem. Using ducking, you'll duck the reverb signal, but the reverb signal will still be full of all these inharmonic tones. So this is the idea of this reverb swap thing. So obviously it doesn't sound great, when you've got the mix up very high. That's just for illustration purposes. Okay, so Battalion. If you're finding this useful, everybody, please smash the like and so on. Thank you. So Battalion, super powerful drum synth, but can also be used for melodic stuff if you want. It's not really designed for that, but it certainly can do that. So 8 different tracks. Here we're looking at the first one. but it's not soloed or anything. I can solo it with this. Okay, so what's really cool here is we've got a bunch of different synthesis methods with just a few knobs for each one. But you can really do a lot. Let's just put it back to that preset a second. This forward and backwards not really working properly. Annoying. Mysterion, there we go. Now, you can see here we've got a sampler as well. No sample loaded there. But I'm going to just pop over to another example, which does have a sample loaded in the sampler. And we got these different kind of sample playback things. When we pick these, we'll get different options in these knobs. See down here, pitch, mirror, shape, split. Now we got different options, right? Rate, speed, size. Listen to that. Ah. Haha. It's wild. Okay, back to this one. So, we got a lot of modulation options. For example, we can easily add a little bit of random modulation to things, and we can set how much velocity will modulate various controls. We got macro controls as well. These envelopes, these can affect the amplitude, but they can also do modulation. And it's very easy. If I want to bring in a little bit of random modulation, just press this and just tweak this a little bit. And now it's going to do a little bit of random modulation within this amount set here. Look at this big variation knob here. You see how these envelopes now start changing a little bit? And so many different things in here will be getting changed when we've got variation turned up. So, in the perform page, this is absolutely mad. So here we can choose which tracks will be affected by these various knobs using these enable switches. We can also flip them so that if I flip this, for example, when I increase this attack value here, all the other ones will increase, but the flipped one will decrease. Absolutely amazing for live performance. Listen to that. Okay, get the idea there. Again, there's tons of things here. It's not my job in this video to go into those in detail. Sequencer page. So here we're looking at the sequencer for the first track. And we can see that's just being triggered here on the first step of this sequence. And what we're seeing here is the velocity modulation. Let's take a look at something else. See anything else here? Let's hear what track 6 sounds like. So let me just draw in a few more steps here. And let's say pick this ratchet, and now I can, you know, add in a certain amount of ratchets for each of these steps. So imagine, you know, you can do that for all these different things: velocity, shift, pitch, envelope, pan, variation, probability, and so on. We got this all page that gives us a kind of overview of things. And this mix and effects page where we have the delay and reverb and so on. So Battalion, that would come number 1, I think, for me. I mean, I really love Silo and Lo-Fi, but this one just does so much. That said, obviously it's more expensive, right? So, you know, when they're on sale, these iOS apps are often just like $5 each or something, or $6. I think their regular price now is $10 or something. It's a very good deal, I reckon. So if those are all on sale, you know, you could pick up Silo, Needlepoint, Tails, and the Lo-Fi app, and Basement. You could pick up all 5 of those for just $25 or 25 quid or whatever, 25 euro, I guess. So obviously that's something to be considered. But certainly Battalion, really deep, really interesting. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope this was useful for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.